Welcome back to another episode of the Beyond the Blueprint podcast, powered by Lippolis Electric. I'm your host, Steven Marcelino Jr., Vice President of Sales with Lippolis Electric. And today with me, I have two very special guests, Paul Lippolis and Michelle Parinello. Guys, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us, Steve.
You're welcome. So it goes without saying, Lippolis Electric has been around for a very long time. I believe our company hit the 40-year mark back in May. Congratulations to your family. That's a very, large milestone. And that kind of dovetails into, the conversation I want to have with you guys, being it's a 40-year company. What has it been like growing up, around this business and watching it evolve over the years from childhood and now into adulthood where you guys are involved in the business? Did it go, down the trajectory that you guys expected, or, what is your view on the business and its evolution, throughout the years, from childhood to current date?
Basically, we grew up with the business, and our father is the owner and founded the business in, was it 1985 or 84?
84, 85.
Yeah, 40 years. So, and we're, I'm 37 years old. Michelle, my sister, is a little younger than that, but we basically were infants when the business was an infant, and it was very small. It was nothing like it was today, obviously, no podcasts or anything, but, it was basically just our father, doing electrical work and, starting from scratch, basically, and starting with one employee, and then eventually, I don't know how many years, but, a second employee, and then bringing in our grandmother, his mother, to do the bookkeeping in the office. So it was really just a small family business. And then, about when we started getting to the age where we kind of understood, what our father did and, business, and he was an electrician, then it kind of was growing with us. And now he had 20 employees, and during our childhood, that's kind of what it was. And then when we started, getting close to adulthood, then he took another big jump, and now he had 100 employees. So it really, and it could just be a coincidence, or it could be, my dad up in his ante as we got older, but it really did grow as we grew. And obviously we're very proud of what our father has built. I mean, now we're adults, we have kids, our own kids, obviously, and, we have our family business has 300 employees, so it's, very established at this point, yes.
So, I know I talked to your father a lot about it and your Uncle Charlie as well. When I congratulated them on being in the business for 40 years, I say, did you guys expect all of this, or, what were your expectations? And that's something your father, he said he never really had any expectations. He just woke up every day, went to work, and kind of just, the company grew as, he decided to let his vision unfold, which is kind of a beautiful thing. As times changed, technology changed, the business would evolve, and that's, I think, a major thing here with Lippolis Electric. And, my father being with your father for about 20 years as well, I've seen, a lot of growth, in the business just from my own childhood. And that's one thing. Lippolis Electric would never stagnate, as the times changed and technology changed and economic climates came through, and, the company always morphed to the times and grew, and it seems that, the focus was never pigeonholed on one thing, powerhouse in the residential service industry. Then, as the times, changed, got involved with commercial construction. Times changed, got involved with energy efficiency. Times changed, now we're doing engineered services and preventative maintenance in our TEG division. But throughout all that, not one division ever just went away. Everything just grew. And that's kind of, being an employee for Lippolis, that's one of the most impressive things, and one of the things that I really cling to about our company is no matter what, we're always going to evolve, and we're always going to add on or make the decision to make sure the company's growing.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with those comments. And I would say my dad always had the vision for this company, but he didn't really try and force it. You know, he kind of just let things grow organically over the 40 years, and we ended up at his vision. But his kind of just let that grow on its own and naturally, just from his work ethic and just, you know, sense of business, he ultimately got to where he wanted to go. But, you know, he didn't try and force it out of the gate. It might not have succeeded as well. And yeah, I just think that one of his main philosophies in business is to not have all your eggs in one basket. And he really shows that with the type of business we have. I mean, we're an electrical company, but we do every type of electrical work where other companies might just focus on one area of the industry. And then over time, as that area dries up, then your business dries up.
Yep.
We always he always tried to, you know, enforce that don't have all your eggs in one basket for that very reason.
It's a great philosophy.
Yeah, our dad always says that, you know, he started with residential, those customers that are still loyal to him today, but they grew. So they became CEOs or they became developers, and they had bigger jobs.
Yep.
And it kind of just grew that way. Like he said, organically, people needed business.
It's true. It went from, you know, we always like to say changing a light bulb in Miss Smith's kitchen to helping
Yeah.
them wire their skyscraper.
Right.
You know, and it's a truly impressive, you know, business, you know, that I have the, you know, fortunate opportunity to work for, and, you know, and you guys got to grow up watching everything unfold. So, you know, I can only imagine. You know, I think at the end of the day, we're all proud of, you know, your father, Carmine. You know, he takes care of everyone that works for him, you know, like their family too, which is unique, you know. And I can only imagine what it was like watching this business kind of boom over the years.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it was almost like as a kid, my dad's an electrician, and then it's kind of like you blinked and oh wow,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Because as a kid, we didn't know where he was going or what jobs he had. Really, we just knew he was doing the work. Really, all I knew was people would call me and say, "I saw a Lippolis electric van," or "Your dad's name's on the diner placemat." And I'd kind of think like he's not a celebrity. But now as the director of marketing, I'm like, yes, we got it. That's like our
it.
number one marketing tool is our vans.
The vans are huge. I get, you know, all over Westchester, you know, Long Island, Connecticut, wherever they are. I have my friends always
people
sending
send me a picture.
Snapchats,
Like,
pictures.
okay.
Like, whoa, do you guys have an office around here? I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
no.
we're just everywhere.
Yeah,
you know,
it's true.
on the sides of our box trucks, you know, it's pretty impressive how strong, you know, the overall marketing behind just having the name. And I think it's more than just the name on the van, because a lot of companies put their name on. It's the way we display it. I think it's bold, it stands out, and people are like, that's Lippolis Electric right there. So let me ask you guys, you know, obviously you're not children anymore, and you are very involved in the business. So what are your functions with the company, and what does your day look like, you know, in each of your own respect to what you do for the business?
So my day is pretty flexible. I'm mostly remote, working from home. I joined the company. Basically, I had my daughter. She was very young, and I used to work in hotels and did sales and marketing for Marriott. And what happened was I quit that job and I was home, and it was always talked about, like, you know, you're going to come on board one day. And it was just the perfect opportunity to work remote, be flexible, do some stuff, and kind of tiptoe into the company. Then COVID happened. I started working like 1 month, I think, to the day before COVID. And it kind of hit me because I did a lot of digital marketing.
Yep.
It was like you had to be on social media all the time. There was Zoom networking things every night. So that's kind of how I got thrown into the company. But I still work remote. I'm still pretty flexible. But I look over and I'm responsible for all of our advertising, marketing, sponsorships, any organizations we're affiliated with, social media, our website. I'm responsible for all of that.
4 or 5 years ago, did you think we would have a podcast
No.
for the brand?
No, I
So
I would
it's
never
pretty
think anyone
exciting.
was for it, but
I think
it's pretty right now.
yeah, I think with the way, especially on the marketing side, digital marketing especially, all day, even me, we're all like this all day, just looking at our phones,
Yeah.
whether you're working or, scrolling through LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever it may be, and it's always good to, like the trucks, to always be branding,
Yeah.
always make sure our brand is visible wherever people can look at it, and, the quote unquote, paper marketing tactics, although I don't think they'll ever go away. I think they're a little less looked at. Not as many people are reading newspapers or magazines. I'm working on a project right now for a very prominent potential client. I signed an NDA, so I can't disclose their information. But they went from printing millions of papers a day to now only printing 100,000 papers a day. Because everything is digital. So being everything is digital now, especially, a podcast, it kind of changes up the flavor of content that we're giving our viewers. It changes it up from the job photos or the videos
Definitely.
of,
And I think it's more personal.
it is.
I mean, even whatever you're talking about, it doesn't have to be art
Yeah.
projects. It's just personal. I think it's like a step foot into the office almost.
Yeah, it's especially when I get to bring on people from the company, it's nice to talk about our inter-office relationships and just, everybody's function. And also when we get to bring on guests like the gentleman you guys just met, Walter Bushy, we're bringing on professionals in their field, based on whether it's solar, electrical construction, engineering, sales, marketing, and we really get to display our network as well and give them the
Yeah.
opportunity to have a one-on-one, conversation with us about what they're doing. So it's all interesting. Paul, what are you doing here at Lippolis? I know you're all over the place.
Yeah. So I mean, currently my title is Vice President of Energy Efficiency, and I'm somewhat of our resident expert in energy efficiency projects, and I oversee them mostly lighting upgrades and retrofits, and EV charger installations, and solar projects, and other types of energy efficiency stuff with battery storage and all that. That's my main role. But I think being part of a family business and your family's business, I mean, it's almost like your title goes out the window, and it's all hands on deck. And, one day you might be meeting with a CEO of a huge company, and and you might go back to the office and you're taking out the garbage, or you're sweeping the floor of the shop. I grew up, taking out the garbage in my dad's office. So, you help out wherever you can. And,
Yeah.
it's just, it's the way it is. Like, we're proud of that. And, it's really just that philosophy. I'll help out if a job could have nothing to do with energy efficiency, but if I'm needed, then I'm there. And it's really not a matter of, if it's what I'm supposed to be doing or it's just what's needed that day.
Yeah.
And, that's kind of the mindset we have.
And that goes without saying, anytime I have a question for you or need guidance or some kind of, direction on a project I may be working on, whether it's, the operations side, the procedure side, the estimating, you never turn around and say to me, I'm too busy, get out of my office. You're always like, yeah, give me 5 minutes. I'll come upstairs and we'll work on it. Whether it's me, any of the other team members in my department or, the commercial construction division as well. I see you all over the building, and, it's kind of like working on like a cruise ship. You're helping pull the rafts up on the side of the boat. You're helping out in the dining room, bringing the thing. You're like the cook, the cook, chef, and bottle washer. You really live and breathe that whatever it takes mentality to be successful. And I think a lot of people can learn from that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm very special in that way. I think if you ask most people in family business, they'll probably give the same exact answer that I just gave. And one of the great things we're lucky to have Michelle is, I mean, everything in a family business, especially when your last name is the name of the business, is our brand and our reputation. I mean, that means everything to us. So to have Michelle, somebody who obviously we trust with that brand, like, it's heading up the marketing is so important for us.
Yeah, it's extremely important.
Yeah. So, and it's just, that pride, like, you can't explain to other people, like, small job, big job, money, it doesn't matter. It's all about reputation. It could be the smallest job we have going on that month. If that customer is not going to be happy, then we have to step in and make a difference, because it just drives you so much, just that reputation and that brand.
Yeah.
And it's just the biggest driving factor in a family business is just keeping your name and your reputation out there in good standing. So.
No, it's
Definitely.
true.
And I think my dad he's our dad, but he has a lot to do with it. He's so passionate when he speaks about whether it's a small job or a big job. I mean, yeah, one's making a lot more money, but it's never about that. He's just, if you hear him speak, he's very passionate about the job, his customers, people who work for him. And I think that's just motivating.
Yeah.
And he always talks about things as like opportunities, or giving opportunities to younger people, trying to teach and lead. So it's just motivating.
Yeah, I mean, opportunity. I'm a prime example of opportunity.
Definitely, yeah.
That your father gave me. And from being 14 years old, helping your Uncle Charlie in the shop, washing
Right.
the vans, and working alongside Rick just to like learn material and organize the conduit racks from them.
And look where you are now.
To going through the apprenticeship program, to being a junior estimator and assistant project manager, to fast forward to current date, his vice president of sales. I mean, it's the gratitude I have it's
Yeah.
unparalleled. It's and because of those opportunities, although I might not be a Lippolis, I have the same passion I feel as you guys, because it's at the end of the day, this is everyone's brand that works for the company.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I mean,
and-
like
and
you
it's
said,
important.
like you were 14. So how long have you worked for Lippolis?
I mean, between school and the past 13 years at least, I've been
and
around the company.
I just realized Ryan has been with Lippolis for 16 years.
Yeah.
I knew him before he worked for Lippolis.
crazy.
We were kids. Rob Doria has seen me been born, get married, have kids. So people have been with us for a long time. And I mean, we're not eating dinner at the same table, but we're truly family.
Yeah, no, we really are. I mean, we're all making sure at the end of the day, we might not be sitting together at the dinner table, but we're all making sure there's food on each other's
Right,
dinner tables. And that's what's extremely important here.
Yeah, I think as we say family business, I mean, of course, it's the Lippolis family business and our family business that we grew up in. But I also say it in a different way, because we have so many family connections in our employees. Like your father and son work for us, your father obviously and you. We have about maybe 10 father and son combinations probably in our employees. We have brothers that work for us, brother-in-laws,
Cousins.
Yeah. The amount of families that, it's not just one employee from that family, it's a whole group. And that kind of just like strengthens that whole family business. Like,
To bond.
yeah.
Yeah, everyone's involved talking
I mean,
about it.
For a while, we only really hired people if they knew somebody else who worked for us.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it was their kids or their brother or brother-in-law or something like that. And we just, we have just, I think of like 10 families that might make up, 50 employees for us.
Yeah, it's crazy to think
It's really
about.
just a family business, like twofold.
It's really, it's truly impressive to think about it, especially when you look at it like that. It's like the nucleus of the company is all built around family. And that really creates, like I just mentioned, the bond that everybody has and just the overall drive, and your father says it all the time, in the office, it's definitely that family environment. Tensions will get high. We'll yell at each other like family. We'll communicate like family. But at the end of the day, we always have each other's backs. And that's what's really important. I want to backtrack a little to something you had mentioned, Michelle, on the customer service side and just the overall kind of reputation, like you guys were speaking about. I think aside from the family bond the company has, I think another area we really excel in is the customer service. You know, I think we all consciously go above and beyond to make sure the customers are happy. If we tell somebody that something's going to happen, that a man's going to be on the site or an email is going to be sent out, or we actually stick to our word. I think in our industry, it's become like the status quo, so to speak. Oh, they're a contractor. They're going to respond to you in 3 to 5 business days. You know, I think we really take pride in, holding up our word, our end of the deal, and making sure at the end of the day that the customers are happy. Sending out that text message on a client's birthday, or congratulating someone that they just had, their first child, or, congratulations to your 5th wedding anniversary. Whatever it is, we're like really executing on the business side and really paying attention to our customers' personal lives and making sure that we have that personal connection with them.
I think it's the connections. Like my dad has a lot of connections, and I think some people see me and say, "Are you related to Carmine Lippolis?" Because I get told I look like him. But and then I have that connection. You have amazing connections, even with like LinkedIn and whatnot. If you're engaging, our employees are engaging. It's all those connections we have. My dad used to go to people's houses and bring me. I was a kid. I remember going into people's homes. I remember being like pretty well behaved, just standing there. But I was like, wow, they're just like really talking. Like he doesn't even know this person. So I think he's still like that. He could connect with almost anyone.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most important attributes when it comes down to business, because at the end of the day, one of my favorite phrases is people buy from people.
Yeah.
People don't want to deal with, other businessmen or women that are going to just treat them like a number or a statistic.
Right.
They want to feel warm inside when they hang up on the phone. I speak about this all the time with the reps in my department, or even like our operations team. When a client hangs up the phone, they should feel happy that they just hung up the phone with you. They shouldn't feel like they want to hang up the phone and throw it out of a window.
It's true. Even like when we speak on the phone, I always appreciate like we talk about something and then you ask about my kids.
Yeah,
because I enjoy talking about my kids, So, well, most of the time. But like, we end off on that good note. And it's with anyone. If you ask me a personal question, it's like, oh, I forgot we just kind of talked about. It makes them feel good. You're right.
Yeah. No, it's nice.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever lose that. No matter how much we grow, we're not going to lose that, small family business feel and customer service. I mean, it's extremely difficult in our industry and the size of our business and the size of our territory to really make sure we're touching people in that way and making them feel good. But I mean, we're definitely going to try, and we're never going to stop trying. And, we do a great job, for the size of our business. We do have that, small business feel, and, we do keep our promises to customers, and we will answer the phone no matter what time it is, what day it is. So we won't lose that service aspect ever.
No, I don't think we will.
And I think our story has something to do with that. Like I said, Dad speaks very passionate about our uncle, Charlie Small, and how he helped him and they got together. My grandmother was involved. Paul was involved. Now I'm involved. And actually my husband's involved as well. So, I mean, and we always tell the story. And I feel like that's comforting almost to
I mean,
customers.
just look at the business. Like you said, your husband's involved as well. Lippolis went from, having different, one shop at different size shops, throughout the West, the Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, Pelham, Yonkers area, to now having, a main office, 3 offices upstate. I know you have your own shop that you run your men out of, and we have field offices throughout all of Manhattan. I mean, talk about growth. It's unbelievable. And your husband's up in Poughkeepsie, running the Veith shop, and I always hear amazing things about what he's doing up there. Your dad speaks very highly of him as well, and it's just truly amazing to see, where the business started and where we are at today. It's a display of perseverance and overcoming adversity, to say the least. And that being said, aside from the past and kind of your functions with the company, what are your visions for the future? What do you guys see, moving forward with just technology, the overall climate for construction or, the service side of the business, marketing, as the digital world becomes more and more prevalent in, advertisement and just overall business generation, so to speak. What do you guys see, I guess if I was to say a 5-year look ahead to put a time frame on it, I guess, so to speak, what are your hopes and dreams to see the company's growth over the next few years?
Like I said before, like I said, I felt like I blinked and there was this huge company was successful. So I think we're just going to keep growing. I think people are going to want more work and just keep wanting bigger. We're going to gain bigger jobs. Marketing wise, I think it's always been a dream of my dad's and ours to have a commercial or something. But yeah, I foresee growth and growth. The podcast I think is going to do great, and we're just going to get bigger with this. And yeah,
Super Bowl ad.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I wish.
I see the thumbs up from Fran in the background.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be highlighting the things we're talking about, how we really are just a special company that we've grown so much and we cover so much territory. We have so many employees, but we still have that small business feel like we were just saying. And I think over the next 5 years, we're really going to start to highlight that and reestablish ourselves in our local communities. A lot of our business has taken to New York City and the new construction and down there in that world. I see us maybe, still working there, but really just trying to highlight our history in Westchester County and, just with the different towns here and Pelham, where we've been based for, over 30 years almost. So, really just getting back in touch with the communities and just developing our service, whether it be, residential house service calls and stuff like that, and really just like reinventing ourselves as a service business, since we do put a lot of stress on keeping that reputation as having good service. So it really just kind of focusing on that and just letting everybody know, we are a big company. We do new construction and skyscrapers and stuff like that, but you can also rely on us, if you have some, an outlet, switch making a sound in your son or daughter's bedroom, like, you can trust that we're going to send the right person there to take care of that we're not just, becoming a construction company or something like that.
And that I agree with that 100%. I had a client call me. They're a development company, but they have storefronts on Greenwich Avenue. And their tenant had, they plugged their vacuum cleaner in to vacuum their store. And when they pulled the plug out, the prong broke off in the outlet. So they called me. They said, Steven, prong broke off in the outlet. We're concerned it's going to start like an electrical fire. I know you guys only do big jobs, but can you come and help us with this? I said, you know me. I said, I'll do anything for you guys. It doesn't matter if you need us to come and shut your building down and work on your main switchgear, or do something as simple as removing a prong from your outlet so you feel safe. And we did. We went, we did the project, and the customer was very happy. The outlet had to be replaced because, however they pulled this vacuum, the vacuum cleaner out, they jacked the whole outlet up. But, moral of the story is it doesn't matter if it's, swapping out a light bulb for somebody, or fixing an outlet, or, doing a small renovation. We embrace all the projects that come through our door. I could wholeheartedly say we're not selective on what we do. We'll do anything for anybody.
We're literally doing it every day. We have, a $100 service call going on, and we have a $10 million high rise going up, and everything in between. So we literally practice what we preach.
Yeah. And it's important, even in the podcast studio we're sitting in right now. A few years ago, this studio got destroyed by Hurricane Irma, And, Francis and Tony called me in to ask if I could give them my opinion on the electrical side of things. And, they don't have a ton of electric in here, but their lights were hanging from the ceiling. Their panels were all messed up. And, it's just those times in need when people call you and say, hey, can you come and help me? And we're there for them. That's extremely important, and I think we do a great job as a business to make sure people know that no job too big or too small. And that's, I believe, something that keeps us where we are today in the market. So on that, what do you guys feel, being involved in business for so long, what do you guys feel makes a successful business, at its core? What are some of the key attributes of the employees, the overall business function, process and procedures, whether it's in the office or, for us we're a construction company on the job sites that can kind of attribute to success in general?
Well, one thing I'll say is good leadership. I think, or good mentors. We definitely have good management. I mean, my dad himself, Rob Doria, now I would say Paul and even yourself. I mean, someone new comes in, you're going to take them under your wing and really help them and educate them. I think, education is important. We want to make sure we know what we need to know.
Yeah,
So I think that's important.
very.
I think it's always important to see the big picture, and that's one of the things we didn't really touch on, but our father really does. Like, he's never, and there are small other contractors that every job is like, well, how much am I making on this job? Like, it's not worth getting out. It's not worth answering my phone for that job. Or we never think like on a case, like a job by job basis. Like, everything is about the big picture with our company. We're just gonna keep taking those jobs and make it part of our bigger operation. We're never gonna take our attention off something because it's too small or something like that. And I feel like it's important in business to have that outlook, to not always be looking day to day. Oh, how much we making on this? How much we doing on this? Is it worth it? Because everything builds up your brand, and it's a small job that you break even on, they might refer you to a big job that you make money on. So you kind of have to just treat everybody the same. And like Michelle was saying, having good management and good leadership. I mean, the people we have as our managers and leaders are people who grew up in the company, like ourselves and Rob, Anthony Galetta. I mean, they've worked for the company since they were kids. Now it's 20 years later, and they're our leaders, and they lead by example. They walk the walk, and they follow. And the other thing in construction and electrical is safety, and really caring about your guys getting home at the end of the day and showing them that they care about safety. And, that makes people want to work for you, just showing that you care about them. So, it's important.
Yeah, no, very important. Especially the safety aspect. I mean, a lot of people don't realize too, like with what we're dealing with, a lot of the time you can't see electricity. So it's almost like the invisible enemy, if you will, and making sure that everyone from, the executive project manager on a job all the way down to the day one helper, everyone in between has the full safety procedure knowledge to make sure the men are getting home safe at the end of the day, the proper PPE, all the procedures that go behind that. I agree too, in our department especially, our men in the tech division are working on live electrical equipment like, 9 times out of 10 throughout the week, unless we're doing some type of de-energized maintenance, which comes along with its own, package of potential safety issues that we have to be aware of. But, just even the procedure of how to pull a panel cover down, knowing what type of PPE to wear in front of a piece of equipment. Do you have the face shield? Do you have the rubber and leather insulated gloves? Our technicians, if they're not in a full arc flash hazard suit, they have a minimum of, 8 to 10 calorie rated clothing on. So they always wear some type of fire resistant clothing, so we know at the end of the day, and they know at the end of the day, that God forbid something happened, they always have something protecting their body, on them. And that's extremely important, and Our technicians, we're very blessed. They're very aware of, the safety hazards out there. A lot of them, we put them through the NFPA 70E electrical safety training. And, we do a lot to make sure that our men are safe. We hold OSHA classes. We hold, SST training and a whole bunch of different awareness trainings and certifications to make sure our men and women are going home safe at the end of the day.
Yeah, in business, there's going to be highs and lows, and they can keep you up at night, but nothing will keep you up at night like one of your employees getting hurt on a job.
No,
And,
nothing.
we might not talk about it a lot, but I know my father feels that way, and that's the one thing we're trying to prevent and not have happen at all. We want everybody to get home safe because, like we've been saying, it's a family business. We know all our employees have families to get home to, so
No, it's very true.
important to us.
It's very true. And, to backtrack a little bit too, I know you had mentioned kind of like the overall vision of the big picture. We didn't talk about it much in the beginning when we were talking about the introduction of your involvement with the business, but to kind of just stay on that topic a little bit, I could speak too for myself in my division. The bigger picture in general, just the investment that's been made into developing northern New Jersey as one of our territories is immense. When I first came into the tag division, I know it's been like a hot item for your father to really make a name for himself and for the company in northern New Jersey as a service provider. We've done some construction jobs in Jersey for, we've built a few nursing homes, some retail spaces and shopping centers. I know you've done a ton of car charger work, throughout the entire tri-state area. And now, we have 2 sales reps in New Jersey, Giuseppe and Navpreet, and they're working extremely hard on a day-to-day basis to develop that territory and, really bring out the Lippolis brand name. We're all over the place, from the industrial manufacturing to data centers to, the commercial applications in, Jersey City. And, that's kind of just that statement you made about the bigger picture. It looks like, the business in general, your father runs it as like a visionary. If he has an idea, he consults the people on his team to make sure it is a good idea, and then implements it and gives the company the tools to properly carry out those, new endeavors, so to speak. And it's just, it's kind of like that whole philosophy of not pigeonholing ourselves. We're constantly looking to branch out into new territories and new opportunities, and it's truly a great thing, especially like, with the Teg franchise. Not only, we work directly in the tri-state area, yes, but we have the capability if I have a client that has properties around the country or, even in another country internationally, we have the capability because of that investment into the Teg franchise to manage property portfolios nationwide and worldwide. And it's really mind-blowing if you think about it. You started out, working in Miss Smith's house. Like you said, your father would bring you to the houses, and now, we have the capability to manage accounts around the world. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's amazing when you put it like that, really. Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's, without a doubt, you two are very involved in the business in general, and you've probably seen, a ton of, action throughout the year in the industry. Do you guys have any, like, core memories behind the business or, any jobs that you may have worked on or, growing up, just any kind of memorable moments of Lippolis Electric and just kind of the, I guess, unfolding of the business throughout the years, throughout the last 30, 40 years?
My memories, like growing up, are more of like my grandmother, like in the office, like those kind of things. Not particular like jobs or not. Maybe you do, but like we always visited her at the office. Those are like core memories, I feel like, or like anything. Like, she'd be sick and in the office. She tried to retire like 2 times. She worked till like 85 or something. So those are like, if I had to think back of my childhood, those are like the real memories, seeing the office.
That's where your
with
dad
her.
get. The other day, your dad, I don't know what he did. He got like a root canal or got a tooth pulled or something. And he came into the office with like cotton hanging out of his mouth, like blood all over him. Like, Like, calm. It's okay. You can relax for 30 minutes. At least let the bleeding stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My grandmother actually remember her toe was broken and she cut a hole in the high heel and her like toe like went through the high heel, but she wasn't going to miss work for that.
Wow.
Yeah, I have so many memories. I mean, so many good, bad, funny times. I remember probably under 10 years old, and the guy showed me how to, knock the knockouts of a 1900 box out and put it in the candy machine, and it would think it's a quarter, and you get the candy. Like, just silly things like that you remember growing up. But one story that my dad has told a few times, I don't know if he told it on the podcast when he was on, but he told it when he was accepting the family business award for us a couple of years ago, and it really like just resonated with me about family business. Like, so my grandma was helping him with the bookkeeping, and he didn't want anybody to know that he had his mom helping him. So he told her, he said, "Don't tell anybody like your name, or don't tell them you're my mom." And she said, "Okay, okay." So she did that for a while, and then people started telling him, "You have the best bookkeeper. Like, we've never seen anybody so sharp. We've never seen anybody like that before. She's so good. Where did you find her?" And Dad goes, "That's my mom." you know, he at that point, like, he wasn't embarrassed anymore. Like, it all just kind of like came to him. Like, this is nothing to be embarrassed about. Like, your family, like, are the people you respect the most, and sometimes, and yeah. So I love when he told that story. It just kind of hit home for me.
I just want to ask, both of you a question, to capitalize on what you had said before, Michelle. What are your, like, top 3 characteristics of a leader and a mentor, especially in the environment we have, small, family-owned business, and, we're kind of all depending on each other to carry out day-to-day operations and overall success. And, for anybody listening, not just for our business in general, but what are like the top 3 leader and mentorship characteristics, a boss or a manager or, just a leader can have to make sure that they're bringing their team up and not just, putting them down and, telling them what to do?
Well, I would say, I was going to say communication, but I think it's more of listening. I think especially now, I think people ask a lot of questions, and that's how they learn and find out new things. So I think listening, if you're not going to listen to their questions, I mean, how can you really train them or teach them? So I think listening and answering questions, even if you think they're silly, I think that makes a really good leader. I think the trust, I mean, if you feel comfortable with them and trust them enough to ask those silly questions, I think that's really important. I mean, those are like 2 things that really stick out to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the exact word, but I would say leading by example. Like, I try to really not ask anybody to do things that I haven't done myself or that I wouldn't be willing to do myself, and just like having the accountability that if a mistake is made and you're the leader, then you are ultimately responsible for that, not the person who made the mistake. And you have to kind of take responsibility for that, and that you're the leader, it falls on you. And it's that accountability that people will kind of see that you have their back, and you're not going to leave them out on an island, and you're not going to point fingers. And yeah, you might call them in behind the scenes and talk to them so it doesn't happen again, but ultimately you kind of have to wear everything that happens beneath you, on your sleeve, or whatever you say. That's ultimately a reflection of you, and you can't really hide from that.
Very interesting. Yeah, I think those are all great characteristics of a leader. Asking questions. You can't expect somebody to grow if they're not going to ask questions. My policy is, especially when I'm working with guys, a lot of the team members I work with, all very intelligent, college degrees, worked previous jobs and wanted to, industry change, whatever it may be, and I have to understand, we have to understand that not everybody understands the technicalities of the electrical construction industry, and there is going to be a lot of questions if we want them to be successful in our business, what we're handling on a day-to-day. So I go by the philosophy, the only stupid question asked is the question you don't ask.
Yeah. I think when we were younger, like people just thought like asking questions was like don't ask questions. Like you'll kind of figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
And now I think, millennials and Gen Z, they ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, I mean, I ask a million questions a day. I mean, whether it's your father, my father, you, anybody that I could, even if I'm slightly unsure of something,
Right.
I'll ask a question because when I do something, I want to do it right. I don't
Right.
want to do it wrong. And, I'd rather ask the question, get that quick response, and then reassure myself, or, okay, I should be doing it this way. It's extremely important. To add on, one thing that I've been noticing, that's extremely important in being a leader or a mentor is providing your mentees or, the people you're talking to with advice and also motivating them. I think it's extremely important, aside from like the technicalities of what we do, to make people feel like they're doing a good job, to provide that confidence, instill the confidence into them that they need to be successful. Because we deal with in our industry, a lot of aggressive, a lot of very smart people outside of our business. When we're dealing with data centers or hospitals or industrial manufacturing facilities, real estate development companies, typically when it comes down to it, we're going toe-to-toe with electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, VPs or senior VPs of big development companies, sometimes even chief operating officers, depending on, how high profile a job may be. And it's important that our team is confident to speak to these people and not stutter and know, like, when I say something, when I make a statement, people are going to hear me and they're going to respect me. Because if you could be right, but if you start to stutter and you don't believe in yourself, the person receiving your message is going to think, does this guy not know what he's talking about? He's like so nervous, and they almost won't, exactly, they won't believe you even though you know what you're talking about. I think that's a very important attribute of a leader, is providing that advice and motivating, and that's something that I see happening every day at our company.
One of our father's greatest leadership skills is his ability to motivate anybody, and in different ways also, and different people. And this day and age, like, money is a motivator for most people. Like, it's really hard to motivate people in other ways, but just besides giving them financial incentive. But he is somebody who still can, regardless of money, he knows who, he has to be tough with, and he could yell at certain people because he knows that's going to make them work twice as hard the next day,
Yeah.
and some people he's got to take under his arm and talk to in a different way. And he kind of just has a natural ability to know what motivates different people. And then that's probably like his greatest leadership skill.
Yeah, and that's something he's actually teaching me right now, is kind of like, personality management, how to handle different people in different ways, because I always had this kind of like twisted perception of like the construction industry. It's like you have to be stern, you have to be matter of fact, you have to be slightly sarcastic, and you need to dictate in a specific way. And I'm really learning now, that's not how it works. At least not anymore. Maybe 20 years ago it worked like that, but now it does not work at all.
Yeah, it's rare now that somebody's going to be motivated by getting screamed in their face or anything like that. But, there's still some people out there that, it does work
Tough
on.
love.
Yeah. And to be honest, it works on me all the time. He does it to me, and I go to sleep and I say, I'm going to show him tomorrow. Certain people are like that, but certain people you'll lose them if you act like that with them. And he knows how to
No,
act
it's
with certain
true.
people.
I guess I'm one of the people on the list with you. So, it's definitely a motivator. And I've grown up even my whole life with the way I was raised. It was never like, you can't sugarcoat things with me. You got to tell me how it is. And if you got to yell at me, you got to yell at me to drill it into my head. No, but listen, I think, we're out of time here today. I really want to thank you guys both for coming on, this special episode and talking about your family business and, kind of the intricacies of what we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis and, how we handle our clients and, your functions and your visions with Lippolis Electric. And, it's truly insightful to be able to sit with you guys and have this conversation. It's a company that I take a lot of pride in. Every day I wake up or, even if I'm at my son's soccer practice and people ask me, Steven, what do you do? I say it with pride. I work with Lippolis Electric. I handle a lot of the sales and, the engineered services. And, I'm proud of that, and it's, it's truly a blessing to work with a company like Lippolis Electric. So I want to thank you guys for coming on today and being a part of this episode.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.
You're welcome. So with that, I would like to thank all the listeners for tuning into another episode of the Beyond the Blueprint podcast, powered by Lippolis Electric. I'm your host, Steven Marcelino Jr., Vice President of Sales with Lippolis Electric. Have a great day.